All right, what is up, everybody? This is Alex once again with another episode of the EOT News Flash. This is episode 104, War of the Spark Commander Impact. And if you're on YouTube watching this right now, and frankly, you can't watch this anywhere else actually, so moot point, you'd see that I am joined by one familiar face and two brand new faces. So let's give a quick intro to everybody. Directly beneath me, our good friend Devin, the redhead of the group. And the only redhead of the group, actually. How are you tonight, sir?
Savage.
Hi, I'm Devin, and I got asked yesterday if I wanted to come on the stream and review some cards, because I like degenerate blue cards, as you will see from my review.
Yes. And directly to his right on the screen, Chris is over there in the bottom corner. What's going on, Chris?
What's up? Yeah, so brought me over here for last time, and I talked about a bunch of EDH, even though we were talking about limited.
Yeah.
So, hey, now I'm actually going to talk about some EDH.
Yeah, specifically about EDH cards now. Yeah, and then directly
the format I like.
The format that we all really enjoy playing recently, and then directly above Chris, we have our other good friend Rocco. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm pretty good, guys.
Awesome. So, yeah, big thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. If you've gone out and watched the Commander in the Dungeon video, you guys recognize Rocco and Chris. I'm sure that Devin will show up on one of those videos at some point in the near future.
Hey.
We are recording another one this weekend, actually. So that's going to be super exciting. We have a bit of a theme going this weekend. But in that vein, I wanted to talk about Commander tonight. So we did an episode on Commander a couple weeks ago. I kind of did a little intro to it, and so now with War of the Spark really sort of into the fold, you know, we're playing standard with it. We're doing a lot of drafts. I thought it'd be cool to talk about some cards that are in the set that are really going to have an impact on Commander as a format. So each of us has a couple different cards we're going to go through tonight. We're just going to talk about them, you know, kind of what the decks they can go into. And I'd really, you know, obviously down in the comments, you know, if you've got a card that we've maybe glanced over or you wanted to talk about yourself, you know, throw it down in the comments and let us know what you think about War of the Spark as a Commander format. You know, there's a ton of legendaries, there's a ton of planeswalkers to talk about. So I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to throw it right to Devin. And Devin, your first card is God Eternal Kefnet. What makes this card so good?
Well, Alex.
It's a very loaded question, I know.
God Eternal Kefnet, to me, when it was first spoiled, and when I first saw the set, I was going through a couple of the cards that had already been spoiled, like Citadel of Bolas, I was going to put into my favorite deck, which is Tasker Heavy Control. And I was going to put in the whole combo with it, with Aetherflux Reservoir, and Citadel of Bolas, and since it's Defining Top for Infinite Life and Infinite just smackdown.
Yep.
But then God Eternal Kefnet got spoiled, and with the ability to manipulate the top of your library, and in an instant and sorcery-based deck, something like Spellslinger deck,
sure, yeah,
you can copy the spell straight off your library and you can manipulate that with things like Sensei's Divining Top, Sylvan Library, Brainstorm, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was really cool, and I was definitely going to put it in the deck over some other value card I have in there. But then I saw that you can go infinite super easy with a Time Warp effect, and Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that, or Scroll Rack, things like that. So it's an extra
Any
turn.
Brainstorm style effect.
Yeah. And so,
any Brainstorm style effect gives you infinite turns, super quick, and then you can just kill with Kefnet. Just you win. Yeah.
So for everybody who hasn't seen Kefnet, it's up on the screen. It's a 2 blue legendary creature Zombie God. It's a 4/5 that flies. It has the God text on there where if it is removed from the battlefield, it goes third from the top of your library, and has the really powerful ability of revealing the first card that you draw each turn as you draw it. And if you reveal an instant or sorcery, you can copy it and cast the copy, paying 2 less generic mana for it. So you're right on spot with those Time Warp effects. Just utterly disgusting.
Just for the record, for that ability, that can happen on any turn. So if you're going on someone else's turn, you can still reveal it, and even if it's a sorcery, you can cast the copy at instant speed, and it's just amazing. I've cast Expropriate at instant speed on someone else's turn, and then they all hated me and cried. But that's what comes with the territory of playing Control.
All right, Chris, we're going to go to your card here, which is Finale of Devastation.
Yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
that card.
Yeah, X green sorcery. Search your library and or graveyard for a creature card converted mana cost X or less and put it on the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it, and if X is 10 or more, creatures you control get plus X and haste until the end of turn. What does this card do for EDH? Because this just seems absurd.
Yeah, so for me, this is kind of like an auto-include in any of my green decks. Like, I've already thrown it into Zakama, I've already thrown it into my Shaman's deck, so the one that we'll probably see this weekend, a little spoiler.
Ooh.
But I've thrown it into that deck. Hopefully I'll be able to draw into it, though. And then, like, any green deck that likes to go big, which, as far as I know, is pretty much every green deck.
Oh, yeah.
You get to search your library, you get to search your graveyard, which is another big point. Like, in case if they've already killed your big threat, you get to pull out of your graveyard, so it's reanimation as well. And you get to search for any card. And then, let's say it's late game, like for green, honestly, turn 6 or later, you're gonna have you're gonna have a lot more than 10 mana. If you cast that for 10 or more, you're killing someone.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no
The game just ends.
doubt about that. You're going to kill somebody, and two, if you more than likely what you're going to pull is either like a Craterhoof Behemoth or a
Like a Indra's Boar
like a
type
ram.
creature.
I mean,
Or
usually
like
you're just killing. You can just kill people with commander damage straight up from that point.
Well,
Your
there's the
commander-
commander damage, and then on top of Pathbreaker Ibex.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like, you swing with that, and hey, everybody just got to +10/+10. Now they're +11, 12, 13. Whatever you want to stay with it, and they all have trample as well. Like, this is a board, like a board kill at that point if you pull up Pathbreaker or if you have at least 5 or 6 creatures. Probably also a board kill on Craterhoof Behemoth as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I know those are a little more like you have to be pretty creature heavy for those decks for that. But that being said, most green decks I feel like are going to be able to get that type of mana, and once you get that, it's hard to say that's not going to be game, if not really hard to come back from that.
Pretty darn close. But yeah, the card is just absolutely absurd, and I'm going to kind of carry the theme here of other green cards here with Rocco's first card here, which is a little innocuous and might be overlooked by some people, but this is Evolution Sage. So we've gone from rares and mythics to uncommons. So we've got a 2 and a green elf druid at 3/2 uncommon. As the land enters the battlefield, you proliferate. Like, it seems not very good, but obviously it's good. Rocco, what makes this card good for EDH?
You have like Simic Ascendancy, for example. Just put counters on enchantments. We can put counters on planeswalkers, and since this set is so planeswalker heavy, having a card that can proliferate for like 3 mana is just ridiculous.
The deck that I've seen this talked about the most is Atraxa Super Friends decks.
Oh, no, sir.
Pure and Toothy.
Tatiova?
Ridiculous in both.
6.
Tatiova's insane, but with Pure and Toothy, when you have Pure out, then you put out the double, and then when you get Toothy, and then, oh my lord, it just gets insane. But yeah, Tatiova, Devin, what do you have to say about that?
I routinely usually in the game I'll have 3 or 4 land drops a turn, and with Evolution Sage on the field, I have like 4 or 5 planeswalkers in the deck. So, like, I've ultimated Nissa at least like 3 or 4 different instances where I had another. Spoiler alert! I have one of the greatest clones ever in this set as one of my. One of my.
We'll definitely get to that. Yeah.
And,
but yeah,
proliferating like in EDH is probably one of the more powerful effects.
You
And
need
then
it.
on top of that,
insane.
with green's one of the better. I feel like green's one of the better infect colors as well. And
Without a doubt.
you're a terrible person if you run infect in EDH, but it is a thing. And let me tell you, this card
really helps.
This card will get you, because it's on land ETB. It's not on playing a card. Because there are a few cards like Hornegreed that's if you play a card, you get to draw a card. This is on land ETB. So with that, it's like you can do that, and then
Ram spells, fetch lands.
Harvest Season.
Fetch lands.
Harvest Season,
Fetch lands are the name of the game with that card.
Yeah.
Not only fetch lands, but I'm thinking like cards where you go get multiple lands and put them into play. And all of a sudden, like, you have one infect let's just say you had one infect counter or something like that. I just dropped 7 lands on the field off of one spell.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now you're up at 8.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the power of this card is because I mean we've named off how many like Infect, Atraxa, Tatiova, Pirituthi, like we just named off like multiple different archetypes there. The versatility of this card just really speaks to just how good it is. You know, we've already the cards we kind of looked at so far have been kind of restrictive in their play.
That
But
Simic that you ran for episode 1 of Commander in the Dungeon 2 with all the 1/1 counters.
Tatiova,
all the 1/1 counters are.
You think it's not in there already?
Oh, I guarantee that it's going in there.
Oh yeah, I already put it in there.
Luckily, I haven't seen that deck too much more.
Yeah, but I think it's a hallmark of a good EDH card is one that's versatile. You know, we already looked at with Kefnet and then finally Devastation. You know, which are relatively restricted in what they're doing, but Evolution Stage is such a flexible, almost I would call it a Swiss Army knife card that you can put it in a lot of different decks, which I think is like I said, it's a hallmark of a good EDH card.
And if I might add, I mean, we're cheating out cards,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Devin. We're cheating out cards. I mean, Kefnet, we're cheating. Finale, we're cheating. And then all of a sudden, we're proliferating for, like, just 3 mana. It's insane. It's an awesome card.
Rocco, are you calling all EDH players cheaters?
Yes. Yes.
I think the word he's looking for is value.
There we go.
No.
If you guys talk about value, I'm going to direct you to my first card of the night, and I'm going to talk about God Eternal Bantu.
Oh my
who
God.
I don't think it beats Kefnet in value. I'm sorry.
I don't know. So I mean, like, when I first saw this card, I looked at it. It does, So we have a 3 and a black, 3 and 2 black legendary creature, zombie god. It has the zombie text again, the god text again. It's a 5/6 with menace. As it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice any number of other permanents, then draw that many cards. Notice how it doesn't say non-land. Exactly. So as soon as I saw Bantu here, I have an Azoni deck that it was the first EDH deck that I kind of built when I got back into the format. And Bantu just says, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play with all of your lands, all of your creatures just dying, because that deck just wants everything to die. And the cutest thing that I've realized I can do with this card is if I have World Shaper, which is the 4-mana 3/3 Merfolk from Ixalan, that when it dies, you put all of your lands from your graveyard back into play.
Yeah,
and so I will happily sacrifice my entire board, all of my lands, hopefully not get Bojuka bogged off of,
That would be me.
which would be horrible, and then just put a bunch of lands into play.
Don't forget about Grave Pact and like Dictated Arrows.
Oh yeah, the same. There's like the sacrifice. Like sacrifice is such a huge thing in EDH. If you go on to EDH Rec, you'll see that most black EDH generals have an aristocrat sub theme to them that you can build around. And Bantu is no different here. Like this card is just it just screams value at the top of its alligator mouth. I love this card.
I didn't even figure out how good that card was I just don't know why it just went out of my head because I need to put that in Eiley. Like,
yeah,
card.
You can also play it along with like Black Market, and then all of a sudden now every single turn you're producing 7-8 mana.
Yeah,
like just on the first cast of it, and then you can get the cast for free off the Black Market.
Exactly.
Each turn after that.
There's a card called Singular Aristocrats, I think, where it's a 0/2 who makes 3 1/1s, and then on the following turn you can use Bantu, and if you're just sacrificing those, you're still getting 4 cards.
Oh yeah.
That's insane value.
The list of things
Also,
that Bantu
Endrick
does is just absurd, absolutely absurd.
Yeah, well, I think one of my favorite ones with him would be Endrick Sar, because as soon as you cast a creature,
yes,
you create creatures. You create the 0/1 creatures equal to that card's CMC. Sacrifice him immediately before even Endrick Sar sacrifices himself, and then you're good to go.
Yep. Card's pretty bonkers. As is our next one here, and Devin's gonna follow a little bit of a theme here tonight, talking about more stupid blue cards. I'm
a blue player. I can't help it.
I get you, bro. I am too. It's fine. We're all blue players on the inside. Some of us just haven't realized it yet.
Thank you, Alex.
This is Narset's Reversal. The 2 blue instant at rare. Copy target instant or sorcery spell and then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Now let me tell you all, this card is dumb with a capital D.
So give us like But for the sake of time, because I'm sure you could talk about this card all night, give us your top 3 cards you'd like to bounce this with.
I would like to bounce. Let's see. What have I already done with? I have bounced someone's Expropriate.
Lovely.
Reversal. And I took theirs. And it was just lovely. It was fantastic. The another one would be, what would it be? Oh, Overloaded Cyclonic Rift.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
lovely.
That has been my second favorite, and I think my third one, to be honest, is Harrow. Them sacrificing the land
lovely. Yes.
and then Narset reversal it, and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm up 2 lands now.
Love it. So again, kind of like we saw with the Evolution Sage, I'm just hearing flexibility just scream from this card, which is what all of our cards have shown so far. Just flexibility is key.
My favorite part about this card is not the fact you can balance. It's not the fact that it's 2 blue, super easy to cast. It's the fact that it gets around uncounterable.
Yes.
And there's so few cards in the game that actually get around an uncounterable effect. Of course, it's instant and sorcery, but usually your most impactful cards in the game tend to be high mana cost instant or sorceries. So being able to do that, like stopping an uncounterable Expropriate. Sorry, I keep using that card. It's just my favorite card in the game. But I can't tell you how many times
I hate that card so much.
I've cast uncounterable cards and have made me win the game. If someone had a Narset's reversal, it would have gone the completely other way.
Yeah. So, but card is just very, very powerful. I'm excited to play this in other formats, but yeah, I think it's going to be, if you're playing blue and you need more counterspell-esque effects, I don't think you can.
If you can't tell, all the cards I'm talking tonight, I've already played with like a million times. So
I just thought of a fun interaction with that. So with like Kess or like any of those cards where you cast the card from your graveyard, you can cast Narset's reversal on that, and then instead of it being exiled, you can bounce it back to your hand, and you have it like another.
I would check the wording on Kess because of the way that graveyard casting works. I think if it's
like flashback, then it would get exiled still.
It does get exiled.
Still get exiled.
Yeah.
You have to check the wording on Kess because that is very, very important.
Yeah, it's the same with like Snapcaster Mage. To bounce the spell that Snapcaster Mage flashes back actually exiles it, which is really awkward if they remand it and you're like, oh, that's awkward. Hey,
I love remand, by the way.
No spell. Oh yeah, you're talking to the modern man right here. I would talk about remand all night.
I'm the person who wishes I could play modern. I just have no one I can play it with.
We'll play
right
modern again.
There.
other direction. Your other way.
That way. From my screen, you're up in the top left. So
yeah.
You look.
Live television is a funny thing. Let's just put it that way.
I'm sure we're just butchering it right now, but it's okay. Everyone loves us.
It's all good. It's all good. That's what makes the show great. It's so off the cuff. It's just exciting.
He plays Jess Guy. Just be forewarned.
Oh, I play all Brains of Control, all breeds. And a card that I could see, I could definitely see in some control decks for Commander. I think we've got Flux Channeler. So Chris, this is one that you're really excited. And we're carrying on this theme of proliferation and value and
blue.
And it's blue as well.
Blue.
Yeah. So we have 2 and a blue Human Wizard at uncommon. It's a 2/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. So.
Yeah.
I think I just explained this card pretty well, why it's good.
Yeah, so the fact that it's non-creature and not just instant or sorcery makes this card that much more flexible, because on top of that, there's you could throw this in like artifacts decks, for instance, that you wouldn't necessarily think right off the bat, that you can like put like all the different charge counters on, like anything like that. You put them in there every time, like with the Joyra deck that I run. You could put it in Joyra every single time you cast an artifact spell. Proliferate. Boom. Okay, that's going to be a problem. Another thing for them to have to deal with in that deck. Super Friends. You can run this in Atraxa. I have a Nicol Bolas Grixis themed Super Friends deck, which is going in immediately. And every time you cast another Planeswalker, proliferate.
Yep.
Like, holy crap. Like, it's good there. And then it's in Simic even. So any of those 1/1 counter decks. Pure and Toothy, Zagana, any of those guys, which they're usually running more creatures, so I think Evolution Stage would probably be a better choice for those decks.
Yeah.
But even still, you're going to have like your ramp spells and a couple of tutors and whatnot. So even for those decks, well worth it. So with this deck, with that card, I think he's going to get really done really quick. If you're gonna go blue white control, Azor Lucky Doors.
Oh no!
With the filibuster counters, you proliferate the filibuster counters. Like
We just got real janky up in here.
Where's my mute button? Where's the mute button? Devin, say something else about this card.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to disagree with him on one of the points there. I think this card, while it's amazing, it does not belong in a Super Friends shell. Super Friends just doesn't take advantage of it like it really, like your deck really should. Like in a Mizzix deck, for example, if you have one experience
that's the other one I was
counter,
gonna say. Yeah, experience counters it's done with.
Oh yeah.
literally last night I was playing against a Mizzix deck and he got Flux Channel out and he went from 2 experience counters to 8 experience counters in 2 turns. It was absolutely insane.
And on top of that, with Mizzix, you only have with Mizzix, you usually have to cast like a higher CMC card to get that experience counter. No longer you have to do that. You can just brainstorm
Whatever you want.
Phyrexian Probe, like all those little 1-2 drop spells that you had like for like the lower curve of your deck, and all of a sudden you're still proliferating off of those as well. And now, hey, it's going to be turn 5, and I'm going to 3-drop my Enter the Infinite.
Mm-hmm. Lovely.
Yeah. No, the card just has so many applications, and it was actually I had this talk with someone I know. He wanted to play that and Evolution Sage and Atraxa, and he was trying to decide which one it was going to be. And I'm like, it should be Evolution Sage. Flux Channeler. Let's say you get out on turn 3. Your next turn, you're going to be playing usually Atraxa. And the first Planeswalker you play isn't going to proliferate, because if you're playing it on curve, it just doesn't hit anything for 2 or 3 turns.
That's a really good point actually. So
turn 3 to 5 is is probably, I'd say, the key turns of EDH.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing enough impactful stuff during those turns, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So definitely a little bit more narrow in its application. But again, it's all about the build of the deck, obviously. And we just named off a bunch of different archetypes there that we could possibly put this card into. So again, it just highlights that flexibility. But we're gonna make a hard right turn into, I think, there's 2 red cards tonight.
I got one.
With a card that Rocco was really excited about. This is Neheb, the Dreadhorde Champion.
Woo! Let's go, Rocco.
Yeah, 2 and 2 red, Zombie Minotaur Warrior, 5/4 with Trample. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you may discard any number of cards, and if you do, draw that many cards and add that much red mana until end of turn. You don't lose mana as the steps and phases end. So Rocco, is this a commander or is this somewhere in the 99? Like, what are your thoughts on this guy?
Rocco is a commander.
So
all legendaries are commanders.
If you want to go super jank, go commander with them, but definitely part of the 99, right? I mean, let's say you have Reliquary Tower, Vanster's Journal, something that allows you to have a maximum hand size, right? No maximum.
Sure.
And then you just play in the head. Boom. And then you save, let's say you drop out 20 cards, draw 20 cards, add 20 red mana, or whatever.
How the hell did you get 20 red cards in your hand?
I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know.
Sir, he is Rocco. He can do anything.
That's true.
Yeah, dude,
That's
anything.
true. That's true. That's
So
true.
what you do is you're playing with walls.
So the deck that I already threw him into, I have a Najeela deck. And
perfect.
it's Warrior Tribal, which is a lot of low CMC cards. So, and a lot of times, if what you want is you just want to keep dropping creatures. So what I'm going to do with him, if he deals any damage to any one of my opponents, which has 5 trample, he should. I'm going to ditch everything that's not a warrior in my hand, and I'm going to draw that many cards. And you best believe I'm going to drop at least 2 or 3 off of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So my favorite combination with that card, and it's makes me very happy, is Almaret's Archive. Almaret's Archive.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
Heb is stupid. I like it way better than the Esper Zombie Commander that came out recently. I just think it's way cooler in mono red, just to be like, I'm gonna discard 7, I'm gonna draw 14, gain 14.
Yeah. Because one of the few ways
do you gain life equal to the number of cards that you drew off of that? I thought you would still get 7 mana off of it, and then just still draw 14 cards.
I think it would be the case here.
I don't like her.
Yeah.
I trash on her whenever I can.
Hey, I actually have a Verena deck. Don't trash on her too hard.
She's a cool commander, but I like the fact that Neheb really encompasses the one way that Red has card advantage built into it in EDH. It's sort of that impulsive discard then draw. You don't you mostly see wheel effects, which is obviously has attached to it. So like Wheel of Fortune, Reforge the Soul. I like seeing this on
or cantrips. With Zata.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when he was saying, I love the flavor that is attached, like with the mechanically throughout this card.
Yeah,
no, exactly. And the zombie commander doesn't make zombies efficiently, so. This is our third Neheb card that we've seen a black-red one, we've seen another mono-red one, and so if you guys had to pick out of the three Nehebs, you guys have a favorite of the Neheb cards? Are you talking about best or favorite? My favorite's the new one.
Let's go.
The best one.
Best.
The best one is easily the 5 mana one. That deck in Commander with that helming the command is
because it just generates so much mana over the course of the game. Yeah,
it's just all viable. Yeah.
But that being said, if you have a dead hand, you can't do anything with it. So I like this Neheb more because you ditch your hand and you can on the things that can actually answer stuff. So that's the only thing with this one more.
I do like the new card selection.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a little harder in EDH just because realistically doing combat damage is a lot less commonplace than unless it's the end of the game than it is in like a standard format or a modern format.
Yeah, this definitely feels much more like a constructed level card than an EDH card, but I definitely see there's obviously implications for it here.
We just gotta give it haste, boys.
Yeah. Well, talk about a card who really wants to have haste is my next card, and I think we're all going to groan when we hear this. It's Feather the Redeemed. So for
that deck.
Yeah, right. So for a red and 2 white, you get a Legendary Angel at 3/4. Yeah, it flies. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile the card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So
I'm hating this thing off the floor.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
That battlefield.
I've played against this card already once, and I hate it. And
the card in the deck built around it is actually not that powerful. Sure, you're getting all these extra cantrip type effects, but really what takes the fun out of playing against it is it's interacting at every single phase, every person's turn, and it's almost interacting more than blue decks.
And it's not even more than just it's the interactivity is obviously there, like them casting like Samut Sprint and other similar effects like that. The problem that I have with this card is that it leads to uninteresting gameplay. And this is by far the best Boros commander that exists. Like, let's get that out of the way right now. This is by far the best Boros commander. If you want to play Boros, this is your commander.
Only playable Boros commander.
Oh, only playable, right.
But Simon, what? Who said that?
But the problem, like I said, it creates these really uninteresting game states where you're literally casting the same spell over and over and over and over and over and over. So while this card is very, very cool and very, very flavorful for Commander, I've played against it a couple times already. It's interesting to see it go off the first time. You're like, okay, that was cute, but show me something else you can do. And they're like, well, that's all I can do. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, if you put something like the new Narset on the field, it literally doesn't do anything.
No, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to shut this thing down.
So for me,
there you go.
So for me, he's kind of like Momervig or Arkham Daxon, extremely streamlined. He's going to win you games. He's going to do exactly what he wants to do. And it's time you pull out that deck, it's going to be the same exact thing. It's the exact reason why I took apart my Arkham Daxon deck. It's the same reason why Momervig is on his way out for me as far as my decks go, because every time I play a game, I want to see like the random variety and like inherent like jankness that is a 100 card singleton format. Like, it kind of
It's a really interesting point too. You talk about how it's the same thing over and over and over. And the thing that we've talked about so far with all the rest of the cards we touched on so far tonight is that there's so much flexibility to them. You can do so many different things with them. But Feather really only lets you do one thing. And I'm gonna have to correct you on one point, Chris. That's a girl.
That is a girl.
It's a girl.
That's
Also, on not that
it's
same
the Brienne
point-
Tarth of Angels on Ravnica. Okay,
All right. Next card.
Oh, boy.
Spark Double. 3 in a blue. Illusion at rare. It's a 0/0. You can have a Spark Double enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker you control, except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature. If it's a planeswalker, it gets an additional loyalty counter. Tell me, baby, what is this card for?
So, just for the record, guys, I may have said Kevnet is my favorite card in the set. This is my actual favorite card in the set.
Why?
So
Why?
The fact that for 4 mana you can copy a legend is ridiculous by itself. So, being able to, let's say, copy a Tatiova and get multiple land drops, and you're drawing double the cards.
Yeah, because this isn't a legendary copy you're creating, which is very important.
That was the next thing I get to. The fact that it is not a legendary copy
only...
lets you use other clones on that copy to make an additional non-legendary copy.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
That is, it has to be a creature that you control.
I have almost every other clone can copy a card your opponent controls as well. But the fact that you can copy a legend or a planeswalker on your side of the battlefield instantly negates that negative.
Yeah,
I cannot tell you how many times I've won games from copying things with Spark Double.
Yeah, well, you could just easily cast a Phantasmal Image targeting some of your opponent's creatures, and then cast a Spark Double to copy the Phantasmal Image, and you're fine. Like,
so here, I'm gonna give you guys an example. I played Tatiova. I played Tatiova on turn. I think it was like 6 or 7. I had about 10 lands on the battlefield. I cast Spark Double. I played 3 more lands. I drew 6 cards. I drew into Sakashima Student and Stunt Double, and I copied the Spark Double copy. So I had 4 Tatiovas on the field, and then I played more land drop cards, and I drew like 10, 12 cards into my library. It's just
Yeah, I remember that game.
So what I'm hearing is that clones are good in Commander.
Oh,
So that's what
clones are
the only other.
If I put up a neon sign, that's what it would say. All right, so Christopher, tell us about Ilharg. This is not a card that I would think that you would play. What's going on with this card here? Why do you like it so much?
So it's basically sneak attack, like on a repeatable format where you don't actually have to sacrifice the card. Like
That's fair.
anything you can cheat guys in with, I am all for. And like anything you can get with good ETBs or good deals damage to target players, so like the Neheb that Rocco was talking about earlier, I'm all about those cards. I'm going to throw in like the new Neheb, the other Neheb in here as well. As far as good ETBs go, let's see, the Thundermare.
Thundermare.
When he enters the battlefield, tap all other creatures.
Dude.
I think the Combustible Gearhulk is probably a prime example of cheating something in.
Bugarn
Yeah.
Hellkite.
Yep.
You throw in
Ulamon?
Panharmonicon into this deck.
That's dirty.
That's really gross.
Spawnothraxis. Any of those red cards that are like get an extra attack step.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Who's the
yeah.
red dragon? Who's the red dragon that with the dethrone?
Scourge
of the Throne.
Scourge of the Throne. He goes in this deck immediately. Inferno Titan. You get an ETB and no, you don't get an attack trigger. You
Guys,
just get an
I
ETB
have to
because
tell you.
they enter tapped and attacking, so you don't get the attack trigger.
I have to tell you, I wasn't for this deck like at all, but he's slowly convincing me that like this needs to be a thing.
Well, basically, Chris can stay for the next half hour and read off a list of cards, red cards, that have ETB effects, and give us a deck list in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. Or deals combat damage to a player like Dragon Mage. Hello.
Oh, he's right.
We don't have time for all of those cards, though, Chris. But
Okay, fine. I'll just give a short list. Dragon Mage.
you already gave us a short list. You're a Behemoth Beckoner.
Yeah.
Less splashy, but still very, very cool. We have a 2 blue-green hybrid legendary planeswalker Kiora, uncommon, 7 loyalty. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. -1 untapped target permanents. This card seems good, Rocco.
That's it.
That's it?
That's all I got. I mean, you
That's all
can
I got.
-1 to untap a target permanent. I mean, we got tap effects, we got land effects, we got, oh my gosh, imagine New Horizons, right? So we use New Horizons, we tap for 2 mana,
Sure.
we minus, untap, Then you have
Tap
2
for 2
extra
more.
mana flow. I mean, it's insane. Oh, it's just an awesome static ability, and I just love the new Planeswalkers, how even common cards and uncommon cards have a place in EDH now.
Yeah.
Instead of just playing high, super, like, mythics and rares and foiled cards, I mean, you can just play Cure and have a working, good EDH deck.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be nice if it's foiled, but,
So this is one of the few cards, and I want to say that draw a card is not the best effect on it.
Oof.
Yeah, absolutely true.
So with this one, with the untap effect, if you're in a Planeswalker deck, like you're in a Traxa or something like that, you do this with Chain Veil. Or you do this with any of like those cards that like you tap it and you produce stupid amounts of mana, like the
Gaia's Cradle.
Karametric Acolyte.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
All right, next card.
Next.
More uncommons. I decided to talk about Merfolk Skydiver tonight. Blue
That
and
is
green.
a very interesting one.
Yeah, blue and a green, Merfolk Mutant, uncommon, 1/1, flies and puts a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control as it enters battlefield, so it can target itself, which is nice. But the piece de resistance, the creme de la creme, if you will, on this card is the activated ability of 3 blue-green, Proliferate. Yeah, it's repeatable. Like, it's repeatable Proliferate. I mean, we've seen Flux Channel already. We've seen Evolution Sage. And I like this one a tiny bit more. It has evasion. It comes with its own Proliferate target itself, which is really cool. And it's specifically in these blue-green decks where I think a card like this shines at its brightest, be able to activate that at any time, instant speed, make some more counters, trade up in combat or add, more infect counters or more loyalty counters or whatever you need to do. Like, this card is, again, versatility is sort of the name of the game tonight. This card is pretty unreal. We have Nissa, who probably has the best commander, like, Planeswalker name. Nissa, who shakes the world. 3 green, legendary Planeswalker, Nissa rare, 5 loyalty. Whenever you tap a force for mana, it adds an additional green. +1, you put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target land you control, you untap it, it turns into a creature. And then -8, you get an emblem with lands you have are indestructible, and you search your library for any number of forests and put them onto the battlefield tapped.
Oh my god.
What do I do with this, Devin?
Okay, so first I'm gonna give an example. The best example I can give of this card is actually from when I was playing pre-release, and my pulls in pre-release were Anissa, 2 Spark Doubles, a bunch of Proliferate cards, and Alex here actually.
It's also worth mentioning he had to build this deck 3 times before he got it right.
Hey, 3rd time's the charm.
Anyway, please continue with your story.
Anyways, during I was going 0-2, and then after the third change, I'd finally gotten it right. Like, I finally figured out what to do with this deck, and I kept playing. I won, and during the last game, I cast Nissa. The guy didn't have an answer. I had activated the Vivian's Arcbow, and looked 6 cards deep for a Spark Double, and then I put that on the battlefield as a copy of Nissa. And so then I started plussing that, and then on the following turn, I cast another Spark Double as a copy of Nissa. Then I cast Bloom Hulk and proliferated, cast a Pollen Bright Druid. I proliferated again. I ultimated one of the Nissas, and then I made more elementals. So by the time the game was over, people were coming over, looking at me, and it's like, Devin, how much mana are you tapping for? I'm playing mostly Simic. All my lands tapped for, all my forests tapped for 4. And
that seems good.
Everyone just coming over. It's like, Devin, are you playing EDH? And I'm just like, basically.
It did look a bit like an EDH deck. You were absolutely.
Her static ability. That card. Her static ability is a Vernal Bloom.
Yeah.
And Vernal Bloom is a great card in general. And
the card is just absolutely insane. It was able to turn a limited game, which is from Commander, is by and far away from power level.
Oh, easily, yeah.
The fact that I was able to produce total of 25 mana on the last turn we were playing. It was very close to the EDH moment I've come across in Limited ever.
Yeah.
So getting back to the EDH side of it, mana doublers are just powerful in general. This card belongs in a mono green deck, obviously, but in a two color deck, this card shines light.
I could even put it in my Zakama deck. So like that deck's 3 colors. I mean, it's very heavy on the green. But that being said, it's ramp.
Yeah.
And on
Every
top of that,
card-
with the -8 on there, just pulling out that many cards out of your deck, that's that many more dead draws you're not going to have.
Yeah.
every card I've named tonight is in my Tatiova deck, by the way. And when
I
I'm
know.
playing,
I played it.
this is a huge driving point. For the deck. So when I get her out on the field, and then I play another mana doubler because I have the extra mana, then I untap with Rude Awakening, and then I cast a Genesis Wave for 70.
Yeah, that's dumb.
And I have the new Jays in the deck. I can't talk about the new Jays because I'm at my card limit. But
I will say the one drawback is it has to be forest cards.
Yeah.
At least it's not basic forest. It could be any type of forest.
That's
but
why
it is.
I like this much better in a 2-color deck than a 3-color deck, because it doesn't have to be a basic forest. It can be any forest. But in a 2-color deck, usually at least half, if not more, of your lands are going to be forests if you're building it correctly.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, card is pretty unreal. As is this next card we're going to talk about, which has already sparked the ire of the rules committee, I believe, with a potential ban being leveraged against this card.
We're talking about Karn.
No, we're not talking about
No,
Karn.
we're not.
We're talking about Narset, Parter of
yeah.
Veils. So 1 blue, legendary Planeswalker Narset, uncommon, 5 starting loyalty, -2. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature, non-land from among them, put it in your hand, press on the bottom of your library in any order. But it's the static ability that people are absolutely losing their minds over. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Chris?
I really wanted to preview this. I really wanted to review this card, but Chris beat me to it.
So Chris, why is Narset Narset has already seen play in every constructed format? Let's get that out of the way right now. Why in EDH is she so powerful?
Well, first of all, in EDH, you have access to every single wheel effect that you can possibly get your hands around.
Yep.
Like, you do this, and literally any effect. Like, you can do this with a Winds of Change, even, which usually is a Winds of Change. It's not even that great of a card. You just shuffle your hand into your deck, and then you draw that many cards, and each player does that. But now all of a sudden, they get to draw 1 card, and they shuffled their whole hand into their library, and they can't even see it again.
It's just 1 for nothing. It's just 1 with nothing for your opponents. That's all it is.
Exactly, which is dumb, and it is great, and that's why it's going to see a lot of play in this format.
Yeah.
On top of that, the other thing that I think people overlook for this card is it's not just tutoring for, or not tutoring, but it's not searching for just an instant or sorcery, which a lot of those cards types do. It's searching for a non-land, non-creature. So you can get out your enchantments, you can get out your artifacts. Like, I'm probably going to put this in my Joyo deck. I'm going to put this in what else? I'm going to put this in my what's his name? Grand Arbiter deck, which is like an enchantment control. I'm going to go search for my enchantments and any other counter spells I need. Like
now I want to put
that -2 ability is super powerful as well. And with EDH, you can build around that a lot more, where you're not going to have look at the top 4, put them on the bottom of your library.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that very often for EDH, because your decks are going to be more focused, just because you have that much bigger of a card pool to pull from.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like we were just talking about, that card draw effect, just locking your opponents out of the game with literally any one of 30 plus wheels in this format.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not even just the fact that wheels are good in the format. It's just like card draw is so rampant in this format. Like,
exactly.
I mean, we're talking about a format where you have access like Sphinx's of Relation, Brainstorm. Brainstorm is huge against this. Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise. Yeah, it does so many things. Any tutor gets around this. It's more just the blanket effect. And like I said when we first started talking about Narset here, she's seen play in every constructed format out there. Like Vintage has seen Narset be played, and which is just
that's insane.
The hallmark of a good card is when you see it in the most powerful format of Magic. So before we move on to our next card here, guys, and like just give me a yes or no answer. And I'll start with Devin, go Rocco, and then Chris. Ban in EDH, yes or no, Devin? Yes or no?
Yes.
For
Rocco, yes or no? Ban Narset, there we go. Leave it.
No.
Chris?
No, because it's a killable.
That's not. I said one word. One word. Follow the rules.
No. No.
All right, let's move it right along to a card that I think is going to see a lot of play in the immediate future, and probably will curtail off a little bit here. We have the Elder Spell. 2 black with sorcery at rare. Destroy any number of target planeswalkers and choose a planeswalker you control and put 2 loyalty counters on it for each planeswalker destroyed this way. Rocco, card's good, right?
Real fast, the flavor text, the path to power is often paved with atrocities. Okay, flavor wants to win.
My whole thing with the Elder Spell here is that, a lot of people that I knew that are newer to Commander and newer to Magic in general saw War of the Spark and just lost their minds over 36 planeswalkers in this set. And they're going to start playing all of these planeswalkers, at least for the first couple of months, until they realize that some of them aren't as good. So I think like the Elder Spell's stock is somewhere like up here, but it very well could drop in the next couple of months. People realize that you can't jam all these walkers in it, but this is going to be a good spell for a good while. And if your meta, your play group has a lot of planeswalkers in their decks, I can't think of a better spell to put in it right now. The card's really powerful.
With planeswalkers and Super Friends decks, you have to know you're going up against a Super Friends deck for this card to be effective.
Yeah.
However, if you're running a lot of planeswalkers yourself, you can target your own planeswalkers with this, and then pump up one of your planeswalkers so you can ult them immediately.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I'm going to be doing this with my Nicol Bolas deck, where it's Grixis planeswalkers. I'm going to kill, I'm going to minus or do whatever effect I want with all my other planeswalkers for the turn. Sacrifice them effectively. I mean, it's not sacrifice; it's destroy, but it's
destroy.
It's sacrifice. I'm going to put all those loyalty counters on one of the Nicol Bolases that I got, or maybe like a Ugin, and then I am going to ultimate that guy, and I'm going to win the game.
More than likely.
And that's how that's going to happen. And that's how that's going to happen. That, or I'll do it on my Ralph Zarek.
Yeah.
And I'll take however many turns I want to off of that with all the coin flips.
My last card for the night is Karn's Bastion, which it's rather underwhelming.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, and
my God.
To again carry the theme of value on cards, Karn's Bastion, it's a rare land. It taps for colorless mana, but you can pay 4 and tap it and proliferate. And the one thing we've kept talking about all night tonight is just value from planeswalkers, proliferation, plus and plus on counters, infect counters, everything that EDH has in just experience counters. Karn's Bastion just makes more of them. And while it isn't, the flashiest thing in the world, I think a card like this is just going to see play in your Super Friends decks, your plus and plus on counter decks. Any we could go on, but it's like there's so much utility to this one card, and it's a relatively cheap effect too. So I mean, I'm ready to put this into my new Marchesa deck I'm building, pair it up with Contagion Engine, and just go crazy with this card. Very, very powerful.
Here's the other thing, though. It's a utility land, and with the fact that it's a land, it's not taking up a spell slot.
Yep. That's a huge thing. Huge fact, yeah.
It can't be countered. The only way they're going to be able to get rid of this is with a Strip Mine or a Ghost Quarter.
Obviously, there's 200 plus cards in this set, 260 some odd cards in this set. All of them, I think, have some kind of application in a multitude of different decks. Whether it's beyond just EDH, obviously, and we've very only just scratched the surface of this set. We're probably going to see a couple of these cards in coming episodes of Commander in the Dungeon, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what these cards can actually do. Definitely down in the comments, let us know what you're excited to play in EDH out of this set. What decks are you planning on building around these cards? Are you putting them in your 99? Let us know what your thoughts are on these cards here, and we'll definitely get the conversation going even further from there. And yeah, I think it's going to do it for this week. Next week is going to get real wild. Modern Horizons spoilers start, boys.
Yes, I'm super excited for that.
And let's not go on that deep end just yet, because I'm going to lose my mind come Monday if they spoil Force of Will.
They're going to put 5 basic lands.
I'm willing to bet right now they don't. Because no modern set, no master set has had a basic land in it. I'm going to throw it down right now. No basic lands in Modern Horizons.
Wastes?
But this isn't a... but all those sets were limited release. This isn't going to be a limited release set.
It's not the point. It's not the point. Not the point. I'm going to throw it down right now. No basic lands in this in Modern Horizons. That's it. So, with that definitive statement thrown down, I want to say a big thank you to Devin, Chris, and Rocco for coming and hanging out tonight, talking about Magic with me as always. It gets a little wild when we get together, but that's just the nature of the beast. Magic is a wild game, and we're just very clearly indicative of that.
Great to be on, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. We'll do it again very, very soon. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you're excited to play within this set, and we'll be back for more next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a good night.